idolize anybody, but I don't idolize Cross. No, I think Cross was a great writer. Okay, here we go. Leslie Cross, Donald Watson, Eva Batt, they're good people to read because they are thinking about these things that affect us today. And they let on the fact that veganism was an answer to the horrors of World War II. And so everyone's always like, Sky's calling people Nazis. Oh no. Especially Nazis. They hate it when I call them Nazis. Nazis hate that. It's just like utilitarians hating it when you call them utilitarians. It's weird. If you don't want to be a utilitarian, don't be a utilitarian. You don't want to be a Nazi, stop being a Nazi. It seems pretty easy to me. But you have to adjust your way of thinking. And I think that Eva Batt and Leslie, especially Leslie Cross, was writing about these changing the way they think, which should have been also very difficult for an English person. England, don't forget, was kind of Nazi for most of their history. They were, we're the best. We're the ones that get to come to your country and decide who lives and who dies. We're the ones that get to draw the borders. We're the ones that, like, that was England for most of history, right? And then they come across the Germans who feel the same way. In fact, when London declared war on Berlin, Hitler said we're fighting the wrong war. Because what Hitler was against was the idea of this communal, we're all equal bullshit that the left was spouting. I happen to be more, I'm not a communist because, that word carries a lot of weight these days. I'm not a communist, but I do believe we're all pretty much equal and we're all pretty much the same as all the other animals on Earth. I don't think that that's so fucking crazy a thought. I just think that's kind of a new thought in the grand scheme of things. People in England like Leslie Cross and Donald Watson, Ava Batt, they were saying these things in ways that were still so convoluted at the time, and they were saying it through the lens of their time. They didn't just fall out of some coconut tree. They existed in the context of everything that had come before. So to idolize them, I think, is a little bit weird. I don't idolize Leslie Cross, but I do quote him, especially when he says that veganism is the emancipation of animals from the enslavement of humanity. And I'm paraphrasing because I think he said, like, by man or something like that. And even in their language is from the 40s too, and it's a product of their time. But I think that they were seeing things like peace starts on your plate. We need to start treating animals the same way we want to be treated. That I think they also were thinking, and I'm not an intersectionalist, I'm not an intersectional at all, because I think veganism is a movement for the animals. But you'd be, I think, remiss in not acknowledging that a way of thinking is what got us into Hitlerism, Stalinism, and basically the English Empire. That's what gets you to these horrible places. When you think that you're better than others and that you get to decide what happens, you get to govern them because you're better than they are. You don't get to govern anybody. Like, that's why we invented democracy. You only get to govern those who have given you the implicit permission to govern you. Those are the only ones that get to govern you. I've said for my whole life, actually, when I was a teenager, I used to say the only person that gets to tell me what to do are the guys with guns and badges, because we've given them the permission to tell me what to do most of the time. Not always. I mean, I push back as much as I can, but at the end of the day, they got guns and badges. What the fuck am I going to do? And the people who pay me, those are the only people that get to tell me what to do, because no one's better than me. If you're paying me, you get to tell me what to do, or if I've implicitly given you permission otherwise, like with cops. So where do we come off thinking that we're better than anybody else ever? And every time you do, deign to assert that you are better than any other animal, or any other group of people, it will turn into a repetition of the horrors of the past. We've already seen this. And so I think Leslie Cross and them, I think that they were beginning to understand that, and that they were responding to what they just saw, which was, the Holocaust in Germany and Poland, the 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 evacuation of Dunkirk, these horrible, the atomic war, in Japan. I think that they were responding to that, and they knew that the only way to change and not repeat that is to change our way of thinking. So there you go. That's veganism for you. I hope you enjoy